My name's John Crawley. I'm a sports consultant for FirstPoint USA. I've went through the programme myself. I attended Long Island University in Brooklyn in New York, and I then attended the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in Nevada, Las Vegas. My role at FirstPoint USA would be to assess and identify prospects who we feel we can bring onto the programme and then hopefully send to America to achieve a scholarship. In a day, if I was in the office, I would be contacting the prospects who I look to bring into assessments, and then we would then assess them, see if they're good enough. If we feel they're good enough to go into any level at America or any universities in America, we would then invite them and their parents back to an interview. After the interview, we'd make up a shortlist of who we feel are going to be successful candidates to bring onto the programme and who's going to be unfortunate not to come on the programme. From then we would contact our clients, tell them if they're successful or not, and from there we would then let them know we've offered you a contract or not, and hopefully bring them onto the programme. The most enjoyable part of the job for me would be being involved in football. It's something I've always been interested in myself. I've always taken it very seriously. I got the chance to go out and do a scholarship in America, which got me back into education, which was great, but the best part about the job would be being involved in football and also telling the boys my story of being out in America, and hopefully they can go out and enjoy the same experiences I did. I first found out about FirstPoint when it was back in the year 2000. I left high school when I was 17 years old, and I went and played professional football for Motherwell Football Club. From there, the managing director of the company just now, Andy Keane, came in on trial. He actually just finished his time in America and came back to Scotland to try and make it professional. I got speaking to Andy there, and he was explaining to me what it was he'd done. So just from chatting, I says it sounded amazing. Andy says if he didn't make it in professional back in Scotland, he was going to open up the company for himself and try and get boys over to America. I took his number and his details, and I got in contact with him a few years later when I actually got released from Motherwell myself. From there, Andy took me on board the FirstPoint programme. I think I could have been one of the first boys to actually come on the programme, and from there it just snowballed, and I managed to played in a few tournaments and stuff like that. Coaches from America came over and watched, and from there I got chosen to go over to Brooklyn in New York. Before I went to America, I'd just done high school, so I wasn't one of the smartest boys. I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, as they would say. But I went to high school. I'd done okay in my standard grade results and stuff like that, but like I said, I was always more interested in football. Halfway through my 4th year at high school, I knew I was getting taken on at Motherwell Football Club, so I was more excited about that. I left high school when I was 17, like I said, went on and played for Motherwell Football Club for the years 17, 18 and 19. I then got released from Motherwell and got a job in Scottish Power, and then I went and played junior football for a year and a half before getting setting up a contract with myself for America and going over to Brooklyn in New York. The rules are a lot different now to when they were when I first went over to America. When I had been out of high school 5 years before I actually went over to New York. So when I went in, I had been out of education for 5 years, so it was I felt it a little bit difficult. I spoke to my parents and stuff. Sports is something I was always interested in, so I decided to go ahead and be involved in sports when I went to America. Didn't turn out to be the right idea because I chose sports science, and there was a lot of biologies, physics, things like that, things I had never really done before at high school. So when I was at high school, art was a subject I was always interested in, and I decided to change my degree over to art, and then when I changed it over to art in America, I actually got on a lot better in college. I think it was the fact of just like getting the head down. I thought it was going to be like a jolly at first when I went over to America, but it's not the case, and eventually you see everybody else in the team getting their head down, going to class, so I ended up doing it as well, and it thankfully benefited me in the long run. I did receive a lot of help from my coaches and also teammates as well. In New York, my coach was actually one of my teachers as well, so any problems I was having, he was like a sort of sports scientist sort of person, like he'd done those kind of classes. I was in one of his classes, so he helped me along the way with anything. But anything I was ever struggling with in classes in America, I just spoke to the coach. They weren't shy in getting you tutors. The coaches over there want to make sure you're passing classes so you're able to play and train with the team. The coaches are bringing you over there to play football. Also, you're a student athlete. Student definitely comes first, but the coaches want you playing on on the park at the weekend and also in training every day, and they're going to make sure that you're passing your classes to make sure that you're there. When I first went to America, I felt the balance of my academics and my sport, like athletics, I felt it a little bit different. I went over with the intention that athletics was more important, just going from what I'd done in Scotland before. But after a semester, you're not slow in realising that academics is much more important. So you just it's all about time management, being responsible, taking responsibility for everything you've got, making sure that your work's up to date. You need to make sure your classwork's done basically, or else you can't play or train. And then the motivation I had to that, I went over there to play football as well. So the motivation of me playing football, I had to do the schoolwork to get there. So I had to be done, and then that's what I done to make sure I was playing at the weekend. When I was studying art, I've done a lot of different things. Graphic design was something I was always interested in, and when I started off with graphic design, taking that, I transferred universities to University of Nevada, Las Vegas. When I went there, they told me that I had to actually take a photography class. It was just part of the requirements. So I took the photography class and ended up liking that a lot better. And I ended up getting my degree in photography. So it's an art degree I've got with a concentration in photography. I preferred that a million times better. When I done that, the biggest achievement I got for that was graduating at the end of it. It's something I never thought I would have achieved. Like, I think I could be the first person in my family to actually graduate for university. Probably the first person in my family to go to university. So graduating from it with a degree in art is like my biggest achievement. The graduation ceremony was brilliant. It was long, but it was a brilliant day. My mum and dad flew over to Las Vegas for it. I think it started at roughly around about, say, 12 in the afternoon, and it didn't finish till 6 o'clock at night by the time you get through every single degree and stuff like that. But it was a great day out. They made it a fun day. We actually had, ours was held in the basketball arena, so we had a 40,000 seater basketball arena that was packed out with everybody's friends and family all coming to watch them graduating. So it was good. My mum and dad had great seats as well, right down the front, so no complaints. I went over there a boy and came back a man. Like, you go over there, you need to stand on your own 2 feet. You've not got your mum and dad to basically do everything for you. When you go over there, you're on your own, and that's just helped me along the way in life basically since getting there. Since I've come home, I've managed to come home, get my own apartment. I lived in my own apartment over in Vegas and in New York. I've came back to Scotland, started to settle myself down, get a job, hopefully get a mortgage shortly if the interest rates and stuff start getting back to normal. But apart from that, yeah, I've definitely come back a man and much more responsible. I've got a lot of good experience of being in America. Like I says, I've lived in Brooklyn and New York, so my university was basically in Manhattan. When I went over there, I was in Manhattan a lot. I took full advantage of where I lived for the 2 years, so I was in Manhattan at the weekends, we'd go out maybe clubbing and stuff, be in Manhattan constantly. Don't get me wrong, it was expensive, but it was really good. Something that I had to take full advantage of because you never know what was going to happen or when it could end. So after 2 years living in Brooklyn and New York, which it was absolutely amazing, meeting people from all over, I then moved on to Las Vegas, which probably New York and Las Vegas is two of the best cities in the world, I would say. Las Vegas, I was living in the desert, waking up to like 100-degree heat every single day. I lived like two streets off of Las Vegas Boulevard. So a day in the life for me would be go to training, go to class, and then maybe hit one of the pools, the swimming pools at one of the hotels, maybe the Bellagio, MGM Grand, wherever it may be. The football team we got there, the girls football team, and a lot of good experience outside the college. But inside the college was a great experience because I was a full-time footballer, which I absolutely loved. And I came back a million times more knowledgeable than I actually went for going through university. Like, I never thought I'd be able to do that. But thankfully I did, and it's been a great experience. I'd recommend it to anybody. The main worries were, am I going to like it, am I going to fit in, just all your basic homesickness. I was a bit nervous when I first went over, I must admit. I was really looking forward to going to it. Me and my dad actually flew over to see the school a few months before I actually went over, so my dad could see where it was I was going to be living and things. So I went over there, we seen that. But it was time for me to go myself. I was nervous, my family were at the airport, everybody was in tears, I must admit. It was sad, but I knew if I got on the plane and the plane took off, I'd be fine. I managed to arrive there. Unfortunately, my bags never came through the first day I got there, so I was like, oh, what do I do from here? I got to my dorm rooms, the coach came and picked me up at the airport, took me to my dorm rooms, put my cases in, he took me to the local supermarket, got me all set up and things like that, got me bed sheets, helped me pick all my stuff out for what I needed. Just helped me all the way through it. It was a bit lonely at first because actually we got there a few days before the university started back, so I had to like basically use my own initiative. I just went out the room, chatted to one of the boys' doors and just hoped for the best. The boy that answered was actually in the football team in New York, so I landed lucky, and then he just started introducing me to everybody over there, and then that's again the cycle. And that's when the accent thing actually came in, and it helped a lot because when I was Scottish everybody wanted to get to know you, so it was good there. But I must admit I was very nervous when I was leaving at first, but once you're over there, you're not the only person that's going to be over there yourself. Like, there is new boys coming in from everywhere, so once you start and get introduced to all the football team, everything just falls into place, and you go ahead, you go to training, go your trips, go your pre-season trips, and then you get to know everybody, and then a few weeks into it, that's you, you're on your way, classes start, you meet even newer people, and then that's you. I wouldn't get homesick for sickness for like maybe weeks on end. I was fine, like, I'm quite a happy-go-lucky guy. I'll go out, I'll introduce myself, I'm not scared to meet new people, but there was certain days where you would wake up and you just wake up in the mood like, I'm missing back home. I always knew I could phone my mum and dad, my sister, even some of my friends. To be honest with you, the very first year I went over to New York, I was looking forward to coming home. I basically thought I was missing something. So I came home for the first summer, and then I realised that nothing different had changed at all. And then after a week I'd seen everybody, all my friends, all my family, and then you still get like 2.5 months to go until you're back. So from there I continued, after that I realised nothing's actually changing back home. For the following 4 years I just stayed over in America, played football in the summer. But going back to the homesickness, like I said, some days I would wake up where it would be, I feel a little bit homesick. I'd phone my mum, phone my dad, my sister, and then when you hear their voice and speak to them maybe for half an hour, 45 minutes on the phone, you're back to normal. You go away, go out with your friends and things over there, and that's everything. That was everything back to normal for myself, I must admit. I know a lot of people are different, but for myself, just hearing their voice and speaking to them, and let them telling you that you're not missing anything back home, don't worry about it, it sort of put me back in the straight and narrow. I'm expecting myself to improve as just a consultant. Basically, I want to get as best as possible out of the job. I've just come in, I'm new to the job, but hopefully as time goes by I'll just get better and better, and hopefully by me getting better I can just only bring more success to the company and build the company up, and hopefully bring in some contacts that I know into the company and just make it bigger. I would definitely recommend FirstPoint USA. All my friends and anybody I ever hear of, before I even joined the company to work with them, I would always recommend them to FirstPoint. I've never had any bad experience with them. I went through them from the get-go, like I said earlier on, from basically, I met Andrew from before he even opened up the company. He took me under his wing and basically made things happen for me. I had some bad experiences in New York where I had to leave. I spoke to Andrew again, the managing director, who was quite happy to help me find a new university. And from there I've had the best experience of my life. I came back, I've always had a good relationship with Andrew, and from then he's brought me on board because he feels I've got a good story to tell. And I've certainly always recommended FirstPoint USA to any boys that's been interested in going to America. I don't really plan ahead, I must admit. It's something I've never really done. I take each day as it comes. I'd like to see myself working here and hopefully progressing up the ladder in FirstPoint USA. If not, with my photography degree, I've actually photographed my first wedding not too long ago, so I've done that. And I wouldn't mind getting back involved in like design stuff like that, but to be honest, sport's always been my number one, and this job I'm in at the moment is a lot to do with sport. I'm loving it, and I'm loving getting to tell people my story of America and hopefully getting them out there.